Welcome back to Comedy or Worse. I'm here with my very special guest,
Brian Vilona.
Yay. How are you doing so far today?
I'm doing good. I took a little time off work to come down and hang out.
Hell yeah.
My lunch break, I guess.
Nice.
Kind of cool lunch break.
That's a good lunch break. Multitasking.
Yeah.
So do you use a stage name?
No, just my name. I actually prefer to go up with no credits. I just think they're kind of like overhyped. It's like when someone wants a special song, you're like, you better be good or whatever. I don't know. I don't think it matters. I think being funny matters. I'm thinking credits matter if you're on like a big show, not like a little one or a show.
Right.
Is this good? Got your shit. There it is.
There. Sometimes I use the iPad to weigh it down. So
Tech expert.
So it's a bi-directional. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a speaker or a microphone on that side and a microphone on this side.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I think.
All right.
How does it sound, everybody? Let us know. And there's the camera. How does it look?
We have two camera angles.
Well, that video is going to be thrown away.
Okay.
See, look how bad it is. Look. You viewers at home can't see, but the window is really making it bright.
You're a tech expert. I feel it. No, this is cool. No, this is a nice setup. This is really cool.
I have a degree in computer science, but computers are evil, so
they are.
I just kind of got out of it. And also, every job, you have to remember and tell the robots control everything.
Sure.
Everything is politics. You can't get away from politics. Humans are social animals. So, and businesses don't want to spend money. So there's a science to the computer science.
Sure. Absolutely.
Right? And they say, oh, you should do this. And the business people are like, oh, that costs too much money.
Right.
We're going to do it like this. And then they're like, well, it's worked for us for however long. And it's like,
tech is
but
interesting.
that's not following the science.
Are you a scientist? Is that what you're saying? A computer scientist?
Yeah.
Is that how you describe yourself?
Well, I mean, that's where I got my degree. I'm a scientist in general.
Okay.
And science is interesting. What about you? Do you like science?
So I work at a biotech company. So I work with scientists currently.
Okay.
And I fix the IT that talks to the lab instruments that makes parts of the vaccine or pills and different things like that.
Right.
This is what I do. And then I just get patient. I have to be patient. Those are my skill sets.
Right, exactly. Don't move. Let's just make sure you're all the way in camera.
More?
Just I don't know, your back isn't all the way in camera.
Here, I'll scoot. I'll scoot. Okay.
It's just ankles.
Gotcha.
I want you to be comfortable, but also
I'm comfy.
There's only so much I can do. It's iPhone 15, but it's not.
Hey, you know what?
Sound effects of a siren that was added in post. I don't know why. I just thought it'd be funny. But how did you get into comedy?
How I got into comedy, 2009. So I wanted to do it forever, and I had a chance to do it for a Greek beauty pageant in college. And it was a super kind audience. It was mostly female. And I stayed awake the whole night before, procrastinating my material. And I did fine, a little nervous. And then I did open mics thereafter and just ate shit super hard for a long time.
Yeah.
But I was in Arizona originally, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But it's, it's been fair.
Yeah. So what made you decide to move to San Diego?
I got a job out here, actually. So I took a couple, I'm from Arizona. I moved to Austin for about 2 years. And I worked at a company called iFly. It's an indoor skydiving company. And then I got laid off, and I was like, what should I do? So I chilled at home for 6 months, and I got a job out in San Diego. Comedy's good out here. I'm originally from Oregon. I like the West Coast. Made a lot of sense. 5 years later, still here. Still like it.
Oh, yeah. Cool. So what is your writing process for jokes, or just doing crowd work? Or?
So I've been I had my 15th year comedy anniversary in April.
Wow.
So I've gone through a lot of different writing processes. I think for me, it's there's things that you're here's the workflow. Is I originally started with dick jokes and dumb jokey jokes, things that I thought made sense in my mind that I found funny, and then I figured out anecdotes is something they connect to and they find funny. So I worked on those for a long time. And then I ran a bunch of shows in comedy clubs and side rooms and things like that. So I was producing shows. I did a bunch of sketch comedy thereafter. And the way I keep it interesting now is I do mostly crowd work. Not to rob anyone's thunder about crowd work being popular, but it's pretty close to my natural sense of humor and natural skill set. I still have a set. I still work on those things or whatever. It helps to get booked. But this is how I keep it alive, right? After a really long time. How do you stay in love with comedy? And I think you just have to be true to yourself about what your skills are. It's a grind. You're not making much money, if at all, if you're not producing shows. How do you stay in love with this really difficult thing that doesn't generate a lot of revenue?
Sure.
And the way to do it is keep it interesting.
How far in did you realize that crowd work was something that you wanted to get better at?
Me? I'd say that's a good question. Probably in the last 3 or 4 years, because I started to host a bunch, and then I was just riffing off the top of my head the most of the time, and I'm this kind of works, with who I am or whatever. And the hosting component, it was great. The sets can be good. Crowd work is different. You're either talking to the audience, or you're heckling them, or how do you find answers to things when they don't respond? So it's not always as scalable as a set would be. Sure. But it's a good skill to have, right? For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
At least I think so.
You probably wouldn't recommend it for a new comic, right?
No, because the thought process that you're in when you're just trying to make quick observations, it also relies on you being comfortable on stage, having the experience and exposure to know kind of rough around the edges how it might go if I say something a certain way. Right. Or about a certain person or how they look or whatever it is. You kind of know what the rails are and when you're off of them. For a new comic, I definitely recommend hosting. I think you can talk about bringing the energy up and getting used to the name of the comic or whatever. But crowd work, it's not that it's hard, it's just a different skill, right? It's how quickly can I...
Isn't it hard to make it consistently good?
So this is a really good conversation. I was talking to someone about this the other day. It's how do you make crowd work consistently good? It's different every time. A set is usually the same jokes every time, and this is different jokes every time. And I think the idea is you do similar types of things. Yes, the jokes are unique. Yes, what you're doing is unique, and the people there are different every time. But my tone's the same. I approach it the same way. I'm trying to get questions answered in a certain way so I can drive a certain point across and get a certain result. Yeah. So it's not just completely loosey-goosey from the hip. Right. There is some thought.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've seen a little bit of people that do it well, and you keep seeing them. It's not all over the place. It's more like a choose-your-own adventure.
Yeah.
To where you're interacting with the crowd, and it's that guy chose this answer, and I already have something. And occasionally you might be thrown for a loop,
right? And
you might just do a generic, somebody gave a wild answer,
right?
So you know what I mean,
like the unexpected.
Yeah.
The way I kind of, as I was I don't always record the video, but I always try to get the audio, and I always try to listen to how am I responding and why? How long does it take me? What did I choose to say and why didn't it work? Obviously, as a comic, we all fixate on the why it didn't work. We like it when it does, but it's mostly what occupies your headspace right after your set. Why didn't that work? Usually does, whatever. So for me, I'd say what I typically do is I'll either go around the room or I'll go to a table and I have a quick observation. It could be a piece of clothing. It could be their eye contact. It could be couples. It could be anything like that. And then I'll start simple and small. And a couple's really easy because you could be hey, how are you guys doing? And then the dominant person will answer of that couple. And then you can ask the most uncomfortable question in the room is are you guys together? And then the dominant person again answers. So which you can double down on that and be oh, okay, blink twice if you're okay, sweetie. Sounds like he's a little control freak. You can they tell you things without necessarily telling you based on how they respond to you.
Right.
And I bait them with certain types of variable questions so I can get a certain type of response from them. So I do that until it runs dry or I don't get the punchline I want, and I escape to another table. And as I'm talking to the table, I'm thinking, if something triggers my brain, I'll go back to the other table, call it back, back and forth. And it really just depends on how much they interact with you. That's my Brian labeled thought about it, I guess.
Patent pending.
Don't do what I do, kids.
So did you get addicted to comedy right away?
Oh, for sure. I think I'll put it like this. I don't care how much money you just got, how cute a girl is, what substance you may or may not have taken, alcohol, any one feeling I've ever had in my life doesn't feel as good as doing the best possible outcome of that night for you in comedy. You can call it killing it, whatever. It just feels really nice. It's really cool. And the people are pretty cool. They're kind of weird. That's kind of like me, so I fit right in to some quoting. Yeah. And it's became something I really liked. And, for a long time, that's all I wanted to do. And then I developed a skill set that gives me whatever insurance, and I'm like, cool, I need that. But I'm still going to do this thing I like. Yeah.
Right. That's cool. So do you have merch at all?
Merch? Oh, I wish I did. I always represented the venue, and I'd push stickers, or I don't have Brian Vilona stickers, but maybe I should.
Oh, I definitely.
Pepper the town with my name. They'll never find me.
I definitely would recommend merch.
Do you remember not too long ago, I was on a date with some girl or whatever, and we were walking down the street, and I look over and I see a man on a unicycle, and I'm like, who the fuck is this man? And then you pass me, it's you, right. And I'm like, that's Aaron. And I wanted to catch up to you. I don't know if I acknowledged you or whatever, but yeah, that was you. I remember that. Yeah. And then in my date, I was like, yeah, I know that guy. And then I was like, should I have said that? Should I have said that?
That's crowd work right there,
yeah,
right?
So I would say you've been in comedy a long time too, I think.
Yeah, this is year 6.
Okay, so long enough to know better, but not long enough to tap out quite yet. That's kind of the space.
Oh, well, I'll tell you that I'm never stopping.
Yeah, that's a good way to be.
I mean, I guess if I was in a coma, if I was alive but in a coma, I hope that by then people would figure out how to hook up a computer to my brain.
Like Stephen Hawking style?
So I could tell jokes from with a robot. But I want to be still on the stage. I mean, come on. You got to sit there.
So for you, this is an interesting conversation. So is it for you the live performance side of it? Because you're also making things like a podcast, you're releasing content, and that's audible, right? It's not as visual or live. So what do you like more?
The podcast has video.
Okay.
It's also people can just listen to it as well.
Okay. Sweet.
So the podcast is it's about getting to know more comics, because
Sure.
one of the reasons or one of the ways I figured out I was a comic was listening to podcasts.
Okay.
And hearing their stories and going, wait, that's kind of like me. They would talk about how they got into comedy and
Right.
I use comedy in my life all the time, so yeah. And the other interesting thing is, I'm going off on a tangent.
No, it's all good.
I'm trying to now tell a joke and then tell the story behind the joke, and I think what I also want to do is go deeper, a little bit deeper, because I have a joke about a comic said something to me, and then I immediately riffed off something, and it was funny.
Right.
And then the next step, I think next time I tell that story, is I'm going to say why I said that. Oh, I said that because we're talking about drugs, and I don't really want to talk about drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I want to deflect and make it funny, you know what I mean? So
it's like
trying to figure out ways of, because the goal isn't just always to do a character on stage and have these silly jokes.
Right.
I want to do everything. So I want to be able to go up there and tell stories that are funny. And
so I'll tell you, so a long time ago, I'm not your story, this is something I think you'll appreciate. So in Arizona, when I started, I was running a side room in a comedy club called Stand Up Scottsdale, and it was me, and then Chappelle Lacey was also running the show with me, and then in that club, Arizona had a pretty fun comedy scene back in that time, and it was the people doing the shows was like Jesse Johnson, Michael Longfellow, Michael Turner, Chappelle Lacey. I don't want to include me in that list because there's a big separation between us because they focus a little bit more, and I picked the corporate route, but I'd say it was a really fun time, and I learned a lot of really interesting things. And the owner of that club, his name is Howard Hughes, and he was a really unique individual, we'll call it. But he taught me something I'll never forget, and it was comedy is supposed to make you think and feel lots of things. Laughter is one desirable outcome of a journey. Like, think about a good comedy show. People are leaving the show, and they go to their partner, and they go, "Hey, I really liked how that guy said." That's leaving an impression on someone. They're walking away and changing their mindset, narrative, and opinions on things.
Right.
Comedy can be super powerful if it's not just about setting up a punchline and delivering, receiving laughter. If it's more about questioning things, taking people on a little bit of emotional ride, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, it definitely would be interesting to try to start with something that not everyone would agree with and win them over.
Right.
But that feels like an advanced skill that I don't.
It's like creating tension
right now.
I mean, you're good. You have a character I've seen you do on stage that I really like, and it has all this pensive, it's momentous energy, and you're waiting for it to pop, and it doesn't. It creates tension, and so a lot of it's like an elastic band, right? It's just like how things like attraction works. It's a push pull. You create tension and you absolve that with laughter. So I don't open a new set with a brand new material piece. Sometimes I'll go with my second best joke or a gimme, because that'll give me the cognizance of they like me, I can relax now, or they're gonna like this, I can say what I want to say now. Right. But yeah, do new shit. That's probably something I don't do enough, for sure.
Yeah. Cool. So did you say you did improv or sketch or?
I've never done improv. I don't know how much we do it now, but we had a sketch comedy group with Mark Silverstein, Josh Graves, and I called the Hard Fives, and when we lived in Arizona, and a hard 9 or a hard 10 is a non-negotiable. That's how you scale the opposite gender, right? So we were the Hard Fives. We were the hideous. It was supposed to be parody driven and funny. But we made a lot of fun sketches, and I really liked them. I think I just got burnt out from running a side room in a comedy club for a long time. And then I kind of came back to the stage, which was probably the right choice. But I like sketch. Sketch is fun.
Cool.
Would you ever do sketch or no? Are you sketch yourself?
There's sketches that I've done, and there are sketches in the work.
Okay.
We're talking about the same thing, right? Where you record something and then you edit it.
Yeah, you write.
Edits it, and then releases it to the world. Yeah, it would be nice.
It's good for promotional stuff. But yeah, if you're ever interested in that, I don't really do it much anymore, but I'm happy to mush brains. It's quite fun. Something I'd also recommend if you like that kind of avenue, they have a lot of 48-hour film contests all the time. And those are really fun because it puts a lot of pressure on, okay, can we do this? We have this many props, do this many things. And you get good at recording and shooting and being under pressure. And you meet a lot of interesting people, so that ends up being good too.
Yeah, that would be fun. So, I asked everybody this, I don't always remember the answer, but do you remember when we met?
Ooh. You and I met, I feel here.
Okay.
A long time ago. Three or four years ago?
That sounds right.
Yeah. And we met here 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, the Madhouse Comedy Club.
The Madhouse, this place, I actually got proposed to on stage here.
What?
3 years ago. I know. Little known fact, but yeah.
Did you know that was happening?
I did not know that was happening until it happened, and it was at the end of it was a Thursday or Friday hosting set.
Did you say yes?
I did say yes, because there's I guess we're gonna go through this story because why not? So I brought it up. It's my fault.
Right.
So
you said yes, but then you regretted it.
So I did the thing that's always the most admirable thing to do. Don't let the person deal with that embarrassment. Handle that in private, not public. But I kind of was like, I'm getting older, so I did it, and I'm like, worst choice. But this is a place that, yeah, I got engaged in this building that we're sitting in today.
So you just got engaged and then you canceled it before you got married?
No, we actually went through and got married in Vegas. We did that, and then some months later, I decided that wasn't a. I love the Lumerance in that period of time. That's like the early fixation. It was really fun and romantic and great. But when I settled in on the adult side, I was like, maybe not this one. But I like the idea, you know?
Okay. Were you living with the person at the time?
Yeah. I mean, it happened pretty quick. I mean, if you hear a lot of like military people get engaged really quickly for different reasons. Mine was just like, well, and then like later on, I was like, maybe not this one. So if you're out there, special person, don't propose to me at a comedy club, please. That's a one and done for me. But let's go to your next question. What do you got for me?
So you've done comedy other places, but have you actually traveled for comedy? You know?
So this is sort of an interesting question. So what is traveling and doing comedy? Is it going to Denver to do a bunch of open mics? Is it getting booked at 9 different clubs and routing together a path and making all the dates work? Is it all the same? So I think that's the first question. Is a mic, right? One of them means a little bit more credit-wise, but I think the efforts behind it is similar, right? So I haven't done like a tour, like when I went on the road and only did that. I've done many times where I would travel around for work or otherwise, and I would do a bunch of shows. So I never hit the road with my friends.
Sure.
It's a little definitional thing. Yeah, I did. I've done comedy in a bunch of different states. I think my favorite place is probably California, honestly.
That's a big state.
Yeah, just in general. Yeah, just all of it. It's the state
my
of
favorites.
Just in general. No, San Diego I'd say is pretty good in comedy. Scottsdale or Arizona was pretty good. Different culture, right? For sure. Austin was pretty fun. Denver was pretty good. I did. What was it? Utah was an interesting place. So it really just depends. These are good things to experience. But how about you? Are you just a native here, or do you hit the road at all?
I mean, I go different places to do open mics so far.
Sure.
I guess I did one show in LA a show.
That's cool. I drove to Long Beach. I got booked. They paid me. I couldn't stay overnight, but it was cool.
Yeah, but
sure.
Right now I'm just trying to concentrate on San Diego and then maybe go to LA. Mm-hmm. I got up at the Hollywood Improv.
Okay.
On their Monday early bird mic, I think. What do they call it? Happy hour mic, something like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a good stage. It was just comics in the audience, but
so that's going to be an LA show until you get to a certain echelon. Yeah.
But the nice thing was, most of them had never heard my comedy before.
That's nice. When you move, all your jokes are new. That's cool. Yeah. So you've done that already, or it's coming up? What you say?
It's just random. I went through 3 times the last time, a few weeks ago, a month ago, or whatever. I got up there. Actually, the funny thing is, the other people I went with, all 3 of us got up.
That's cool. Was it like a fishbowl mic, or sign up? Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was pretty lucky. Well, the first time I went there, 2 people got up, but not me. And then there was a couple other times nobody got up, and then it was lucky all 3 of us got up.
Numbers work out.
Yeah, I mean there was a 4th person in the car, but she's not a comic, so I'm not counting her.
She's a civilian, as we call them. She's
exactly.
A civilian.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Let's see. So Do you have any hobbies or passions that are not related to comedy?
Like to do, for exercise, I'll do jiu-jitsu is fun. I was an old athlete, so I was an old wrestler, so I like to still grapple stuff. That's fun. It's humbling. I wouldn't recommend it for everyone. I'm getting old. It hurts. But it's healthy, and I like it, and it's something I've been doing a long time. Outside of that, I've been writing a book. It's been taking its time, and it's actually really, so it's like a self-help book. So it's a book about dating, and it's for people with things like generalized anxiety, right? Which I think we all have when it comes to that subject. But I started writing it as I was like, because, I'll date or have relationships, probably too many of each. But to process that myself, I was like journaling. And then I was sharing some of my journals with my friends, and like, this is really funny or interesting. And I'm like, what if I turn this into a different palette where it's palpable for other people, and they could glean into like a funny narrative and a worksheet or something like that. And I think men primarily are the ones that consume dating advice. I don't think women are struggling in the way that men are to find dates, right? They just gotta put their pretty selves out there, and guys gotta do all the Googling, right? That's okay. But what that means is they need resources, and there's not a lot of resources online for people that struggle with different parts of their mental health that do want partnership and do want sincerity and consistency with other people. So I've been writing that for about a year and a half. And for me, every time I get distracted really, really easily.
Yeah.
But every time I'm brought back to it, I make some progress. So hopefully I'll finish it soon.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So do you wish you started comedy earlier?
To be honest, sure. Yeah. I was 24. But I also thought about it for 2 years before I did it.
Okay.
To get the brass buttons to do it. I think it made sense when I started. I was still in college, which is pretty good. I feel bad when people are just starting, and they're I don't know, I've met some people and they're 70, and I'm like, I wish you would have had a little bit more time to really enjoy this thing. So I don't feel like I'm robbed of that opportunity, but yeah, I wish I started when I was 16 or something. That'd be crazy. Yeah. I wouldn't have any excuses though. What would I do?
Right. So what are your goals in comedy right now?
The humble part about doing it for so long is that you realize, I think, what comedy means to you, and not just what you want it to be and how it fits into your life. And so for me, it's I treat it as a hobby. I love it, and I've treated it as a passion pursuit at the same time, for sure. But when the pressure's off on it and I can enjoy it, I can still have the other pillars of my life and enjoy them. And comedy's fun, especially in the avenue I've been doing with crowd work and things. My goals are just to don't tap out. I think that's the goal. And then if you get a turn,
don't tap out.
Don't tap out, man. But if you get an opportunity, it'll be because you were patient and you waited your turn. It's not always how great you are or prepared you are. You obviously need them, but you have to also kind of right place, right time kind of thing. So the goal is not to be successful, it's to be funny, which yields to the other thing.
Sure. Absolutely. Makes sense. So what is your favorite joke right now? It can be anybody's joke.
My favorite joke? Oof. Oh, shit. God damn. What was this? There was this comic I just heard, and he went out on stage, and he just does something Stryker. What was his last name? I can pull him up real quick. But he doesn't do any jokes specifically, but he just goes out and holds the audience hostage for the whole time and makes them clap through his entire set and shit like that. So I think that I'll get back to you on the name. I'm embarrassed right now, but that's the weird existentialism that I thought was pretty funny. Sure.
Cool. Do you have a favorite fan interaction? Either someone a fan of you or you're a fan of somebody else?
Ooh, like a favorite fan interaction. I would say whenever someone repeats something that you said back to you.
Did you ever get it right?
Never. They're I liked how you said, and I'm I didn't talk about my dick there, but it was close. I really like, or even worse, if you say something bad, they come up and they're I didn't like how you. So I think anything where someone remembers your shit enough to converse about it with you is always the biggest
For you
compliment.
to understand what joke they're talking about, but even if they got it wrong.
Right. 100%. So I think that's a big one. I don't know. It's like you do a good set, you're very visible. You do a bad set, you're very invisible. So you definitely notice the difference, right? Ish.
Yeah. Makes sense. So what's your favorite place to do comedy right now?
Your mom's house. No, I would say the right answer is anywhere that'll have you and give you good amounts of time. I mean, obviously I like Mic Drop a lot. I like, anywhere I can go up. I try to keep it a Thursday, Friday, Saturday for me most of the time. I love Madhouse too. I probably don't spend enough time down here, downtownish. I'm in Point Loma, so we actually don't have a lot of comedy in Ocean Beach, do we? I think there used to be a mic or two.
Yeah.
That's closest.
I don't think I've gone to Ocean Beach in a while.
Yeah, for the best.
Right. Yeah, there was an open mic that maybe I shouldn't have been going to, but I really needed the stage time.
I think there's an open mic at Tony's Martini Bar, but it's pure open mic, so there's like musicians and poets and other things too. But
yeah, well, there's a mixed open mic tonight or this afternoon.
Really?
The Stacks, yeah.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, Monday, Tuesdays are jumping
I was gonna say here Monday, Tuesdays are great, right? Okay.
in San Diego area. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I need to come downtown a little bit more. I've done most of the rooms here, but like not significant time or like good slots per se.
Yeah, some of the mics on Monday, Tuesday aren't even have anything to do with a club.
Right. They're just local shows.
Right. Monday, I think there's no club in San Diego that's doing an open mic. Tuesdays, there's 2 clubs that do open mics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
So what was your family like growing up?
What was my family like growing up?
Family life.
Family life. So I'm one of 4 kids. My parents are still together. Awesome. Everyone in my family is an artist. So it's different in that way. I mean, I'm a kind of like one. I perform, but like I'm a systems engineer, so I'm the nerdy one, I guess. Mm-hmm. And the funny one. It was cool. It moved around a lot. I got to experience a lot of cool things. They had a bunch of businesses they ran together. They're all up in Colorado, actually, my family. They're very sweet, very nice people. That's my political answer. You like it?
We're not trying to dig dirt, anything.
No, let's talk shit, dude. I'm just kidding. No, they're family. Everyone's family has good and bad and different things. Sure. But they're nice people.
So rate your siblings.
Oh. On what sort of scale? Not on on a not sexual scale, please. Is that okay? Okay, good.
What?
Rate my siblings.
Why would you even bring that up?
Because typically when you rate someone, it's on their attractiveness.
Oh,
do you see what I'm saying? You don't go rate someone and then you go like, what do you rate them on? You're like, oh, that person's a 9. It just isn't.
I see.
But when they're your siblings.
You've got a deeply disturbed and dirty mind. I get it.
Okay, so what's the criteria? How would we rate?
I don't know. I just make
like helpfulness, communication, how tall they are.
I mean,
did they go to school?
Yeah.
I'll rank them in my favorite order. How's that sound? Sounds a little healthier than the.
Your favorite order? You're gonna do it? Are you serious?
I'll do it. I have to pick my brother first, for sure.
Okay.
And then. I mean, they're not going to listen to this, which is fine.
Who knows?
I'll send it to them, motherfucker. No. And then I probably would pick. It's a tie, but if I'll pick one, I'd probably pick my. And this number is adjusted a lot, but I'd say my older sister next.
Okay. Just
because of I've known her my whole life and super proud of her, and then my younger sister, same reason, but someone's got to be last. If you ain't first, you're the last sibling.
Yeah, just haven't been able to spend as much time with her, so I get it.
I think I'm gonna be 39 and like on this Sunday, I think. Yeah, Sunday.
What?
Getting old.
Well, say happy birthday.
Happy Hanukkah.
Everybody, it's past his birthday when this comes out.
So, family as you get older, people have like kids and they go and work jobs and they're busy.
Wait, people have kids?
Some people do. Do you?
I've heard. No, I don't.
Do you have any kids you know about?
No, I know I don't have kids unless someone did something with cloning.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
If you did have a kid, what would you name it?
What would I name it? I don't know if I want to answer this question.
I can tell you've never thought about it, which makes me excited for you. Go to the next one. Next question.
So what is your earliest memory?
My first memory? I think I remember all the way back to like 3 years old. I had like all these, I liked animals. I used to want to own a pet store. So other people wanted to be like an attorney or a doctor. I wanted to run a pet store. That's what I wanted to do. And my first memory is my neighbor had like snakes and something weird. I couldn't have them because my sisters didn't like them. My mom didn't like them. So I'd take my Godzilla toys and I'd put them in the snake cage and I would like wait for them to fight and they just would never fight.
Right.
And that's my first memory, is trying to make snakes and Godzilla toys fight.
Wow.
Yeah, with my neighbor.
That's cool. So do you? So you don't do any other type of art?
Writing, live performing.
Right.
I don't like use clay or patina or canvas or bronze or anything. The medium wise wood. I should try it sometime, but I've actually never even tried it, which is kind of ironic. I always kind of pick the anti-route, comedy side of things. But yeah, performing art, maybe we'll call it that.
Cool. So have you ever done a character on stage?
For sure. I'll do like bits with characters, or like there'll be a theme show where you like dress up like on Halloween I'll be like Waluigi and I'll be like Waluigi the whole time, or something like that.
That's cool.
I saw your character that you did. I liked it. It was like the nervous energy guy. What was his name? No, there's a joke. You have stickers about it. I think I've purchased some on your merch. Maybe what's your hoodie say? As like repeating letters or words?
The pretzel one?
The pretzel.
Yeah.
And the way you deliver the pretzel joke is not like how we're having this conversation, right? There's a character behind it, right?
Sure.
What's so
exaggerated version.
So tell me, is it you? Is it like
just an exaggerated version of myself? Just me performing, trying to be funny.
Right.
Up there nervous because you're not laughing. It's like, okay, now you're laughing. Also, I started doing that, those silly, funny laughs, just to release tension and to let people know that it's okay to laugh. It's time to laugh. It doesn't always work. Some people are like, "What the fuck is that guy doing?"
Well, I mean, like guys like Jim Carrey had a lot of energy and a lot of character-driven stuff. I don't think it's terrible. Obviously, we're not trying to compare. I don't think it's a terrible idea to, this will even go back to something I saw maybe a year ago. I was just in the wormhole on YouTube, and I found like early Mitch Hedberg, and I was like, oh, how interesting. I wonder like what early Mitch Hedberg was like. And it was just like any one of us, like dude comics ripping jokes and sucking shit on stage. It was not good. It was just like putz, not the same. And then he created a character and a lens he delivered these jokes through, and it was fantastic. So there's some movable parts there. I'd say don't give up on that character. To evolve him a little bit, decide what you want him to say. If you're having fun doing it, they'll mostly follow you through that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely trying to figure out. It's like a two-pronged process. How can I get more people on board with the character, and how can I also have the character be closer to my real personality? Going at that at the same time, and hopefully that would mean that less people would come up and say, "Oh, you're doing a character," You don't really talk like that. I thought you were weirder, and you're like, I'm fucking weird for sure. However, I don't sound like a. You want me to entertain you?
You know what's funny is what people do and don't notice. I always find like the little things that you say on stage, they don't really notice. And the comics will notice, like the jokes are the back of the room thing, right?
Yeah.
And then the big things, opposite. Like, what's your experience of that? Do you notice?
Well, I mean,
the feedback you get
with all that is that I have gone up on stage and talked. I've listened back to it. I know I've actually gone on stage and said stuff in my normal voice, but nobody remembers it.
No,
because it's not, because it's a short period.
Right. 2 minutes or whatever.
Or whatever. And like going up and doing, say that I've gone up and did a joke as a different person.
Sure.
And I got it to a point where it was working.
Mm-hmm.
And one comic that has that style that's closer to that said, "Oh, I really like that joke," and I'm like, "Thank you," but
Right.
you didn't realize you like that joke because that's more closer to your style, right? Like,
Sure.
But as a white guy, it was kind of hard to do it because I was doing an accent and I wasn't, it was Southern, but
Right.
it's like hard in my own head, even though I was trying hard to not talk like a black guy, it felt like from my interpretation of reading the audience, I felt there's people that are like, why is he talking like a black guy?
So what?
You know what I mean? So it like
Yeah.
just stopped, because it's like that would be like starting over. Like to get good at that would take a lot of time and energy.
Definitely.
And the way that everything is right now, I don't feel like it's the good time to even go down that road.
So like when you what I like to call white knuckle something, like hold on to it with a death grip, it's because you believe in it. You know it's for a fact it's going to work for you, or you've seen it work so many times. This is gold. And in comedy, write a really good bit or really good joke is hard to let go of, because you know how hard it is to replace it, or to create sequential amounts of it, or you have a good set one. This is a big piece of that, all that stuff, right? Where it's very relatable and you can say it everywhere. It's a local, whatever it is. But I think one of the challenges is if we don't evolve, what does it look like? Like Jerry Seinfeld throws away, like, he's the first comedian I ever watched, Jerry Seinfeld. And I didn't really know what stand-up was. And he trims like 10% of his set. And he just does the highlight reel for everybody on the grand tour, and they get to see Jerry Seinfeld, right? And then you got guys like, Louis. They throw their material away every year, and they have brand new material, and it's obviously like he's a comic, so like his material's very good, regardless of what he does with his pants off. Like his jokes they stand by themselves, right? So there's opposite ends to it. I think in the middle is like what we should be doing, which is like grouping things in categories of 5 minutes, and then that's how you have half an hour, and that's how you get 40 minutes, and that's how you get an hour and a half.
Right.
Not necessarily letting them go, but putting them where they need to be and inviting new things to come in and work on those new 5 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's the humbling part. Unless you're in a contest, you don't need to rip. Our egos want to crush.
Yeah.
And usually our job is to suck until we're ready to be good. And when you're ready to be good because you say X, 5 minutes, whatever.
There's definitely jokes that I put, like, I'll work on that later. Like there's a dead dog joke that I want to get better at.
I'm excited to hear it. Can you say it? We're on a show this week, so can you say it? If it makes sense, will you say it?
I'll bring it out of the closet and attempt again.
Sure.
People laugh at it. It's just, I feel like it could be funnier.
Maybe I'll come to your workshops more, because my biggest ailment is I've gotten too comfortable just literally doing 100% crowd work. And I'm not good, bad, or indifferent at it. If I am, it's not for me to say, right? But the idea is that's not going to get me booked or maybe where I want to go if I only do this one thing. So if you sit down, I'm better at giving advice than taking it.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's every Saturday at PB Food Court, 3 to 5 p.m., 1088 Garnet Avenue.
Okay.
San Diego, California, 92107. I think that's PB's zip code. Anybody, I'm also, it's mostly for comics, but people that might want to get into comedy.
So it'd be a good introduction.
Yeah, it's not a class. It's just, and you're gonna get the best advice as of the people that are there.
Yeah, and it's typically free, and it's typically, well, a big part that people don't understand about comedy is you have to be part of the community. and the community rewards you with time. And the ideally, you want to get to the place when they have a new show, and they need a host, or they need a feature, or they need someone on a lineup, and they think of you, and you get a message. That's where everyone wants to be, and it takes.
Right.
Otherwise, you got to bark, and be at all the mics every night, and that's kind of the journey of it all, right? But getting asked to do them is where we want to be, and that's when a component.
Well, I mean, like, there's a writing group called Write Tight that
I saw that
Craig Sutton runs. And I love it. It's just really hard. It's on Sundays. It's really hard for me to get away from work.
I'm like hungover, or you work on Sunday, you said, right?
I work on Sundays most times. I mean, I guess I could just do what I did yesterday, and I just had the other guy come in early, but then I didn't go to that. I think it was going, just a coincidence. But I drove to LA to play D&D with my LA friends.
Right.
None of them are comics. I want to get some of them into comedy. A couple of them are actors, but
there's a duality to that, or spillover. A lot of comics get involved in acting. I've thought about it. I've thought about actually doing voice acting. Would be really a nice intermediary thing to do, and probably really fun. So I don't know if that would make sense, but there's a lot of ways to do it. Like to just do comedy and just do stand-up are different things. Comedy's lots of stuff. It has all these different criteria and things and stuff and shows or not that you can do online or otherwise. And then stand-up is brick wall, microphone, mic stand, and stool. And so it's just a little different. But
exactly.
ADD's taking over. You got this.
So let's just finish up because I don't know how long you have.
Yeah, we got another couple minutes.
Make sure I at least ask all the same questions to everybody. Have you ever won a comedy contest or anything like that?
I've advanced a couple times in some contests. I've never won one. Okay. But I was not a big contest guy. I have anxiety, and that's okay because I've still performed just fine. But a contest was not a place for me that I wasn't very nervous or did my best work. I've definitely got either first and second round and stuff like that before. I've never won one. But that's okay. Yeah. I was also competing against some people that became very, very great, so I'm also okay with that as well.
Makes sense. They have to step on your shoulders.
Yeah, someone's got to be the bottom dude. The fucking last play. I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? But yeah.
So do you have what's your best booking story? Either you've been booked on a show or when you're producing shows, you're like, oh my god, I asked this comic, I can't believe they said yes.
Booking stories and reaching out to someone or someone reaching out to me.
Either way.
Either or. So when I was at Arizona State, I was probably, like a year into doing comedy, like a little kid. I was like 25. And I was involved in Greek life at the time, right? It's not my favorite thing, but it's something I did. And ASU Greek life was having this like really dumb song and dance contest. And they have this really big auditorium called Gambage, and it seats about 5,000 people. So about a year into comedy, I did a show for about 5,000 people, and they paid me like $1,000 to do this show because they were like, what do you think we should pay you? And I was like, $1,000. And they were like, sure. And I was like, so my first comedy payday was $1,000. And then I went out, and this story, so it was a clean and safe, appropriate show. All the kids were drunk, which was crazy, but I had to be clean and appropriate. And I just got fucked up by these kids so bad. There was like, boo. Like, here's what I remember. Okay, my dad flew down from Colorado to see this, right? And they were like, couple show errors. I did 30 minutes split in, I did an hour split into 2 30-minute sessions was the time I did. And the first, they wanted me to tell jokes as people were walking in and talking, which just didn't work well. And that was the first part. And then I came out later for the halftime show, and they were all like fucked up and screaming. And I remember like getting through the jokes, and then the jokes not working, and then people would be like, you could hear them like talking about me, and I'm looking at 5. It was standing room only, thousands and thousands of people. Wow. And they were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, so like for me, eventually, I ended the thing, and I walked off stage, and the girl that like ran it gave me a big hug, and I was like, I want to crawl under a rock and die now. And I learned a really valuable lesson out of that, because you're not going to get a bigger show than that in most cases. Like, you're really not going to. But I still did it. I still got back on stage, you know? And I think that's how I look at comedy now, is like, you're going to go through these rough moments that could have been awesome, and maybe preparedness was missing. But there's your story.
So, but you still got paid?
Yeah. Still made that money. That felt good to cash that check. I still have that check. I mean, you cash it, but I still have the printed.
Yeah, technology.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a hard-earned $1,000.
Yeah. So after that, you had to 5,000 people. Did they recognize you?
Oh yeah, for sure. There was also social implications after this that followed me around during school. They're like, "Oh, you're that guy that," I'm like, "Motherfucker! I just wanted you to like me, and now I'm famous for the wrong reasons." But you know, that's kind of like, that's what makes it a more honorable story. Because yeah, it would have been cool at 1 year if I crushed 5,000 people, but give me the name of someone that could probably do that, you know. But yeah, that's the college Brian at ASU. That's me.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. So what's the worst thing about comedy right now?
Ooh, to the opposite. About just in general, what's happening in comedy.
However you want to interpret.
I'll try to say something lightly. I think the worst thing that's happening in comedy right now is, in my mind, comedians should be able to mostly say everything you want with taste in mind. If it's not funny, taste is usually one of the reasons it's missing, or it's shocking, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So the jokes you could say 10 years ago and the jokes you can say today are significantly different as like a straight white male even, right? I can't announce what I'm not. Like, that's what I am, right?
Yeah.
And for my group of people, I'm on some rails, and that's okay. Like, it makes sense to me. But what doesn't make sense to me is, like, to the person taking all the risk, seeking to be vulnerable, seeking to put themselves out there, study, fail, do all the things. You should be given a little longer leash to say whatever you want if you're the one taking all the risk. So maybe it's censorship, maybe it's sensitivity, maybe it's not understanding that it's comedy and it has a place of truth. Comedy is also to provide a level of truth. So I think that's probably the worst thing going on, is how much culture is shaping the ability to or not to tell jokes.
Right. How do you feel about you're at a show and someone in the audience is recording you, and obviously most shows are like, don't record.
Oh, like you catch someone doing something they're not supposed to do?
Yeah, like they're recording you.
I mean, I would probably, knowing me, I would probably jump all over them vocally about it and make a joke about it and just kind of shame them into stopping.
Right.
That's probably what I would do. But also, that's kind of flattering, right? You're going to watch this later? Is this going to the bank? So, I mean, something like that.
Cool.
Bring awareness to it, not be a total dick.
Yeah. So is there anything else that you want to talk about?
So you've been running shows for a bit. So to give you an opportunity to kind of express, what is it like for you running shows? Do you like it?
Yeah. I've set it up to make it sustainable.
It's smart. It doesn't burn you out.
Like, at first it was like a show, and it was every other week.
Right.
And it was a book show. And then, Madhouse stopped doing open mics again, and like everyone's really wanting an open mic, so I'm like, okay, let's try it. Let's do an open mic. And that was a mistake, because then the owner,
Right.
the bartender and slash owner is like, oh my God, all these people are here. Let's not do shows anymore. Let's just do open mics. And then the compromise was, okay, let's do a show or an open mic that has some featured comics.
Right.
So, and let's do it every week. So then, okay, so less people to book. But now recently added another day. Now it's Fridays, Saturdays, drop Thursdays.
Mm-hmm. Good idea.
Fridays, Saturdays, so hopefully it seems like it's going to go well. And then the booking of it is like, even though it's really not that difficult to ask people to do, can you do my show? All those little seconds and minutes start to add up when it's every week.
Right.
So there was times I was having it booked out 2 months, and then, not enough people were asking in the future, so then I would be down to only a couple weeks out. So it was and I would post, "Hey everybody,
mark
ask
it."
me to
Yeah,
do comedy.
I have openings. I don't want to cancel
Yeah,
shows.
So the latest thing is that I decided to make it there's a list of people. It's a closed list, but I email everybody and say pick a date.
Right. Help me out.
So
I'll give you time.
So far, it seems to be going well.
If you were to give either the people listening or people that want to do your show a piece of advice, what would you think that piece of advice would be?
I think that as far as asking people if you can be on their show, realize there's levels. There's a level of the show and there's your level.
Right.
There's easy entry level shows like Quantum Brewing.
Sure.
Like I love giving someone their first show.
Right.
So there's someone that their first show. If Michael Longfellow came back to San Diego,
sure,
and wanted to do, he wanted to do 10 minutes, he would absolutely get to do it within 2 seconds notice.
Right.
Right. So you got someone that's, you know what I mean? Like that's not saying that he ever would, but he performed at Mic Drop. I don't know time, like
a couple times
months ago,
yeah,
or whatever, and I got to see him, and so that proximity, he has been here. So I wasn't going to say, hey, come and do my show.
I'm sure he would appreciate it. He's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
But I totally understand.
Yeah, he remembered at least me from Madhouse. So that was cool. You might mention Michael Longfellow, so I just
no, he's good. I like Michael. He's deserving of his opportunities for sure. Good to see it. It's nice to see people you meet in your life that go on to do cool stuff and you actually cheer them on. I think comedy's full of a lot of clicks, and that's okay, but I think it's nice to watch people from the same town especially win, because that's a testament of the culture that somebody's gonna move, right? But can't be friends with everyone, but be nice, hopefully.
Exactly. So how do people find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, and my name is Brian, BRIAN _ Vilona, VILONA. Brian _ Vilona.
Yeah, the underscore is on his driver's license.
Yep, that's me. Hell yeah. I'm excited to do our show this week. I've had a really good time with you every time we've, every time we've had time together at your room. I enjoy it, so.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge when you're trying to do crowd work and like a lot of the people are comedians. But
yeah, that's a different pivot. I mean, I kind of like, if I'm up early enough in the night, it's fine. If that dwindles and then the front rows miss and it's all comics, I'll rip some jokes. That's my pivot.
Right.
Is what I try to do. But you're right. It can be.
It's not just you. There's other like comics that are popping in late and they don't realize that those people that looks like civilians are. One of them is a comic, and the other one is the person that brought them, or. I don't know if that makes sense.
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, I think you said like you're here for your lunch hour, right?
Yeah, I probably should get going. They're already pinging. Sorry, I was answering a message. They're like, the thing's broken, and I was like,
oh, the thing is broken. Can you believe that? What's funny about that?
The thing by the stuff over there.
Yeah.
Descriptive.
So thanks so much for this.
Yeah.
Say bye, everybody. This has been an episode of Comedy or Worse.